Welcome back to Justice. The race for 2016 is heating up. So will Donald Trump throw his hat in the ring? I asked him that and what he thinks of the Obama administration's potential deal with Iran. Take a look. I want to talk about 2016. You were killing it wherever you go. The crowds are cheering you on. Whatever polls you're in, you're always right at the top or close to it. Why not just announce? Why are you waiting? You've been through this before. You know what it entails.
I have, and it's a lot of work and it's a lot of everything, but I love the country, and I think a lot of people are going to be very surprised. A lot of polls don't put me in. They just don't because they don't think I'm running. My business is a phenomenal business. I built a great company. 4 years ago, my kids were really young and maybe couldn't have done it, and now they've grown up. I have great executives, and I am looking at it. I will tell you that, and I think you know that very, very seriously, and I think I'm going to surprise a lot of people. Our country's going to hell. We have people that are incompetent. We're making incompetent deals. China is taking all our jobs, along with other countries.
But Donald, look, you know, I follow you on Twitter and Facebook and all that stuff. I mean, you talk about issues that are important to the American people. So when we hear about people being killed, Christians being killed in the Middle East, and a president who doesn't seem to be engaged and is trashing Christians, I mean, don't you start to wonder, is this more than incompetence?
Well, he doesn't even want to use the word Muslim when he talks about what's happening. He talks about terrorists, and he doesn't want to acknowledge
what's happening.
I don't understand it. Nobody understands it. Maybe he doesn't understand it, frankly. Look, the man is doing a horrible job. He's worse than Jimmy Carter. I never thought I'd see it, but he's worse than Jimmy Carter. And we'll see what happens. This country's in serious trouble. We owe trillions and trillions, 18 trillion. I don't know if you know this, but at 24 trillion, that's like the magic number. That's the point. That's the point of no return. And we're going to be there soon. We have to get somebody great in there. And so I'm going to make my decision very soon.
You just made your own argument.
I understand
You love America.
I do.
You're a successful businessman.
I do.
You understand what it takes. You relate to common people. You really do. As smart, as successful, we're surrounded by marble. It doesn't matter. You can go out to a cow patch and people know exactly where you're coming from. That's lost in American politics today. You're the real deal. So just announce.
Janine, I'll tell you this. I'm going to be making a decision very soon.
If you were not to run, who impresses you most in the Republican Party?
Well, I don't want to say it because it's too soon to say that. I don't want to put myself in that position. I know every one of them. I know them well. I can tell you some of them shouldn't even be thinking about doing this.
How about Marco Rubio?
Well, I don't know him very well. Look, he's young. He's a senator. We had a young senator before. Didn't work out well for the country. I think there are some other difficulties, but we'll see. If and when I do my thing, I'll be saying things about candidates that are going to be very appropriate. I mean, very, very appropriate. And a lot of people aren't going to like what I have to say. But we have people running for office who, if they got in, would be a disaster for the country.
Everybody knows you've got the corner. You've got the thing on jobs, business, eyeballing as someone who is our potential enemy and telling them to go to hell.
And I do better with security than anybody else. But security-wise, ISIS, I mean, what's going on with ISIS, what's going on in Iran with this horrible agreement, and I can't even imagine the president finishing this agreement. What's going on, we have incompetent people representing us. Incompetent.
I'm going to read you a Fox News poll. It says, does Iran pose a real threat to the U.S.? Yes, 65% of Americans think so. And is the U.S. being too soft on the nuke deal with Iran? Not the U.S., but Barack Obama. More than half of Americans say so.
Absolutely.
Number one, why is he doing it? Number two, what would you do differently?
It's inconceivable that he's doing it. Number one, you double up and triple up the sanctions, and then you start negotiating. He takes the sanctions off and he wants to negotiate. They're laughing at him. The negotiator from Iran goes back to Iran and they start dancing in the streets celebrating him. He then gets up and says, what a bunch of jerks the Americans are. Look at this great deal we're making. If that ever happened to me, I'd cancel the deal right there. The other thing is, how long does it take to make a deal? They've been negotiating. Now, Kerry's who the hell knows? He doesn't know what he's doing.
Right.
How long does it take? Why are they in there for months and months and months? There's a time to walk. You double up the sanctions, you triple up the sanctions, you make it really tough for them, and then you start negotiating.
You know what? That's the common sense that American people want to hear about. And that's why it's so important for you to make a decision if you're going to do this, so that going forward you can actually get in the game. And my final question to you, what does Melania think about your running for president?
You know, she feels that I have a certain ability that's very extraordinary for making things better. And she loves the country. She really loves the country. And she's a very good woman. And I will tell you something, she's so supportive, surprisingly supportive, actually, but very, very supportive. Not for me. She thinks I could make it great again, and I would.
The passion is there, the fire's in the belly. It's time to jump, Donald.
Yeah, well, you watch. Stay tuned.
It's great seeing
Thank you very
Donald.
much,
Thank
Janine.
you.
And